Welcome to TYA Talk. I'm David Strickel, creator of the TYA Mindset Practice. I am on an hour late today because I have been I have been dealing with permits for my house. If you have been following me, you know that my home burned down December 19th of 2022. It is now mid-September of 2023, and we're still waiting on permits from Riverside County in California to get the house rebuilt. So the reason I'm sharing that with you is because this is something that I have not brought myself to fully detune. So I thought this would be a great thing to come on and talk about because we always have these things that we are really challenged in detuning. And when I talk about detuning, I'm talking about detuning our life's transgressors. Anything past or present that you cannot fully appreciate is a transgressor. So if you think about it in terms of that, that can be a lot of things. Now, there are two different types of transgressors, though. There are active transgressors, and then there are inactive transgressors. An inactive transgressor is something that happened to you in the past, something that's not really occurring in your life in your now moment, but still exists in your mind. So you're continuing to giving it life via your memory of it. And of course, your judgment of it, as should not be, makes it a transgressor, your lack of appreciation of it. And so we all have these things to work on. And I have spent many, many years now detuning the inactive transgressors, and I have taught myself to detune active transgressors in real time. And realizing that the active transgressor, when I detune the active transgressor, it no longer is a transgressor. And therefore, anything that I am experiencing that is not my preference will automatically clear up. Because if you take the ego-driven judgment away from something and you have nothing but appreciation for it, then you are showering that topic in source energy. Source energy is abundance. Source energy is all healing, all solving, all love, all appreciation. Everything that you want is found in source. Our egos are designed to separate us from source and to give us a mechanism from which we discern preferences of things that we want to experience while we're in physical. Having those preferences is actually what motivates us to move through the human life journey in a linear way. And we're moving through the life journey because there are things that we fear and there are things that we want to experience. Those are our drivers. Those are our ego drivers of the human journey. And it's natural to have them. And it's natural to have an ego. In fact, you're going to have an ego as long as you're in physical. It's going to be part of you. But the ego has been, let's say, overdeveloped in our current society. We are really taught to rely on ego and really detune source in our lives, which actually holds us away from our worthiness and our natural state of abundance. And we're taught to do that in such a way that makes us compliant contributors to society. But we are at a very interesting period for humanity right now. And I'm taking a little exit ramp from the main topic here, but I'll get back to it, I promise. In this interesting time, and I'm going to be talking about this more on the podcast in the future, is that inequity is part of the human experience. I know there are a lot of people that are into spiritual practices and otherwise that believe that we're going to create this new earth where everyone has everything that they want all the time and we all agree about everything and we're living in paradise. I know that sounds lovely. I get it. But that is how we exist in our non-physical state. In fact, I believe that's where the concept of heaven comes from. That in that non-physical state of being where we don't have a physical vehicle and where we don't have an ego present, we are one with source and we are appreciative of all that is and we're wanting for nothing. But while we're here in physical, we do have an ego and we do have desires. So the only way to completely clear those desires out, thus clearing any inequity, would be to destroy the planet Earth, destroy all of our physical vehicles, and return us to non-physical. Well, I believe that that will happen naturally at some point, and certainly in our independent journeys, that happens naturally. We age out of our physical vehicle, or something else takes us out of our physical vehicle. We return ourselves to non-physical. It's a very natural process that, as far as we know, happens to everyone. So how do you reconcile this concept, if you are believing that we're all going to be equal and we're all going to manifest exactly the same, then throughout recorded history, this inequity has allowed us to have the things that we want to have. My father used to have this saying, and he was usually referring to me when he said it, because I wasn't a good student. He would always say, the world needs ditch diggers too. So if we're all equal and we're all abundant and we're all living this perfect human experience, who's going to volunteer to dig the ditches? Who's going to volunteer to clean out the portlets? Who's going to volunteer to work at the sanitation plant? Who's going to volunteer, if we're all equal and we can all have the same life, to, pick fruits and vegetables out in the blistering sun all day long? That inequity, that unfairness of the human experience has been a component of it as far back as we're aware. But now we are moving into a new era. We've created these tools for communication where we're all coming together and we're sort of destroying the matrix. And while we're destroying the matrix, it's interesting that simultaneously we are also creating artificial intelligence. And that artificial intelligence can be expressed in robotics. I know I'm getting way out there in sci-fi world, but I'll bring us back, I promise. And in that, it is feasible that we could see a future, a not too distant future, where robots are digging the ditches, robots are running the sanitation plants, robots are fighting the wars, robots are doing all the things that we don't want to do. In fact, robots will be doing a lot of the things that we maybe do want to do. There's a huge strike going on right now in the entertainment industry because, in part, one of the underlying fears of all of this is that writers and even actors will soon be replaced with AI. You can go on ChatGPT right now and have AI write a unique script. It will be pulled from other things that have been human created at this point, but we know it's not going to stay there forever. This artificial intelligence will become more and more intelligent, probably faster than we do. So we're looking at a future, a not too distant future, where we won't need writers, we won't need actors. Everything will be CGI demonstrated. The actors will be in your living room in 3D acting out whatever it is you want to watch. You can only imagine. And that's the future that I see. I think the technology already exists to do all of those things. It just needs to be sharpened and made mass produced. Well, okay, we don't need to check ourselves out of the grocery store. We don't need to drive ourselves anymore. We don't need to drive to transport anymore. We don't need to farm anymore. We don't need to labor anymore. We can 3D print a house now. So what are all these people going to do for their money in our current society of exchange? And whenever someone demonizes money to me, it's always interesting because I do get those, the comments every once in a while that if I were really spiritual, I wouldn't charge for anything ever. I would just give it all away for free. I do give it all away for free, but certainly there are things that I do that cost money. I'm not going to apologize for that. That's just the way it is. We're in a system of exchange. I believe what I offer the world has great value, and I have no problem charging for the things that I charge for. And I love that I give so much of it away for free anyway. So that's my vibration. That's my chosen belief system around all of that, because I do believe in exchange. I believe that if you have something of value and you give it, the universe is going to reward you for that one way or the other. And I've proven to myself that whether I'm charging for anything or not, things do come to me. So in my own personal belief system, I understand that. But at the end of the day, someone has to do the jobs that we don't want to do. And we're very close to having machines do that stuff for us, which is then going to unemploy a lot of people. So we have this system of exchange. What are we going to do? I'm not about being fearful around it, but I'm understanding that abundance can occur in magical ways if you're not sitting and trying to figure out how it's going to occur. So yes, I can envision a future where we are living in more comfort. I don't think it will ever be equitable because we don't all want the same thing. We're not all the same. One person's going to want a mansion, another person's going to want a cottage in the woods. I get it. So I do see a world where we're able to manifest the things that we really want, and your soul knows what you really want. That's the core being that is you, is your soul. I always say the soul knows. The soul knows. Your ego will battle it very often, but ultimately the soul knows. So how do we create a belief system for ourselves where we can truly meet all of our transgressors in joy, including unemployment, including inequity, including the concept that someone's coming for my job, including for me, this active transgressor of not getting a permit to rebuild my home. I brought it back around. I told you I would. So these are the things that are difficult to just immediately find appreciation for. Most everything in my life, I am able to meet it in immediate appreciation. My father just died 4 days ago, and I cared about this man, and he brought me into the world. He was there for me when I needed him. He wasn't the world's greatest dad or anything like that. And he was 83 years old. But I met that entire experience, even his suffering experience at the end, because he died from COVID pneumonia, or that was the thing that put him in the hospital, and then his organs shut down. But he was on a ventilator, strapped into this machine, hanging upside down for the last 3 days of his life. He was under anesthesia, so I don't know how much actual suffering there was, but no one wants to go that way. And certainly there was suffering involved for my stepmother and my sister that visited him. I was in appreciation of his journey, and I'm in appreciation of their journey. So I can appreciate that. But this stupid material house, the frustration and the the frustration around having a government system that is so blindsided, or so has such tunnel vision, I should say, blind to, what is this department doing against that department? I need to find appreciation for that. So that's what I'm going to work on today, because I have tried to not judge it and tried to not demonize it. And I've been doing that now for 7 months. The first inspector came to our home in February of this year. It is now September. It's now mid-September. So in February, an inspector came out. There was an old permit for the pool that's been there since 2007 that was never finalized. And the county is saying, we're not going to issue you a permit to demo your house or for temporary power or for anything else until this pool permit is cleared. So we went down, we paid the fee, we filled out the paperwork. The inspector came out to clear the pool. And he said, well, I can't clear your pool because you have no electricity. But we can't get electricity because we can't get a permit for temporary power. So he said, well, that doesn't make sense. The guy was in person, face to face. That doesn't make sense. We will just put this on hold, and I will make a note that we will inspect your pool and the house and everything when the home is rebuilt. That was February. 7 months have passed by with no activity. I have not demonized it. I have not been angry about it. Michael's been angry about it, but I have not been angry about it. But, we're not calling and screaming. We're not threatening anybody. We're not doing any of those things. We're not. And I'm not in that vibration at all. Michael's been there, but I have not been there. So all this time passes by, and I know that getting angry and going down my spiral about it is not going to solve it. But guess where I am? If you're talking vibrational scale, I'm still not above neutral. I've thought I've been just chill about it, and I have been chill about it. But sometimes being chill about it isn't enough to get things moving, obviously. So I need to move above just being chill about it or being cool about it. I'm an old man. I use old terminology. So I now need to move into appreciation. And so it's an exercise for me to find appreciation for a building department that just doesn't care to take the thought one step further and say, oh yeah, we won't issue the pool permit until you have power, yet we won't issue the power permit until the pool is inspected. So my challenge today is to find appreciation for that. So I wanted to come on here and share all of that as a TYA teaching here on TYA Talk, because you probably have something like this, or you will have something like this in the future, where you're trying to appreciate things that you just can't wrap your head around. That's why I went into the whole AI money thing, and I am going to talk about that more in other podcasts and things. But we are heading there. We are heading there where a lot of jobs are going to go away. And we're going to be in a scenario that could be horrific. A lot of unemployed people and a lot of machines doing things for people that have no money to pay for them. And those machines aren't going to work very long. Whoever's paying for the machines isn't going to run the machines if they're not making money in this current system that we have. So how do we rebalance or recalibrate our system of exchange? I want this from you, and you want this from me, and we're going to exchange our goods and services. How do we recalibrate that when we have so many robotics and computers that are doing so many of the things for us. So that's something that I want to work on radical appreciation for all of humanity on, because nobody else is really involved in my house. It's Michael and I, and that's it. We're the only ones really suffering in this experience of not having access to living in our home and spending money every month to rent a house instead of living in the house that we own. So that's what I want to leave all of you with, is I'm not giving you the answer of exactly how I'm doing it, because I'm not completely there and I'm never going to bullshit you. But I know the answer is in finding radical appreciation for exactly where we are, for the process. It's not enough just to be cool about it. I've been cool about it for 7 months. Nothing has changed. That's a clear sign to me. If it's not manifesting, it's me. Always. If it's not manifesting, it's something in the vibration. And I can't worry about Michael's vibration. I'm in charge of mine. My home too. I designed the whole thing. I love it. I want to live there again. I want to experience it again. Do I need to? I don't think I'm in need, but I'm definitely not in full appreciation of where we are with the process. So I will be working on that. And I'll be sharing all of that with you and what the results are, because I have yet to find authentic radical appreciation to fail me on any topic ever, 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 ever. It solves everything. It's the answer to everything in the universe, for sure. But my ego is keeping me away from it right now. My ego is still saying, this is insane. This is insane. I've got a building department that can issue me a temporary power permit. We can get the pool inspected if they want to do that, which is insane because the house is destroyed. Or they can simply allow us to rebuild the house, give us the permit for the demo, give us the permit for the temporary power we need for construction, let us rebuild the house, permit the whole thing, and clear all the permits when the house is ready to be moved back into. Logical, right? Well, I'm not a county employee, so... All right. That's what I want to share with all of you today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it made sense to you. As always, type in the comments if you have questions or if you need more clarity or if you just thought it was completely off the wall insane. Just let me know. You can't offend me. Thanks for watching.